And then I'll see if I can find us and see if I can do this with sharing. Yes, it says here that we should be here. Yes.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And to ensure that we are available is the idea. Okay. We should be ready now. And I can see already we have 8, 9 participants that is checking in here. So let's open this free webinar where we are gathered here to talk and open the energy about what's related to put value upon, you can say anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. This webinar is about value and valuing, how we value ourselves and how also we add value to the business and to our customers. And Marianne and I will try a different format this time, where we will try to bring up some topics, discuss them, try to share the thoughts, try to feel the energy in the topics, because this is also, of course, a healing session. And maybe we don't understand everything that's going to be said. Sometimes when we see these webinars, we hear a lot of words, and it can be difficult for everything to sink in. But webinars are also to align our human existence with our higher self. So the higher self will receive the information. You will get everything you need from this session. No worries. And you can, of course, always see the session one more time if you would like that. I'm sure Marianne will put it out on her usual channel. So thank you so much for participating today. And we both would like to welcome you all, both people who are participating at the moment and for the future viewers as well. I was thinking that maybe I could start with a story from my life. I'm 51 years old. I was born in 1970, so I was a child in the 70s. And the way that I was brought up was that there were some values in the society at that time. And my father was very strict. He was a productive man with sharp opinions. He had very anchored, strong values, and was what some will suggest maybe old school. And I was a very free spirit that incarnated into this family. And so what I experienced was that my values were not aligned with my father's values. And so this gave the opportunity to explore the feeling of actually not being fully appreciated for who I was. And as an adult today, I see that he wanted to be a good father. And his need to be a good father was not met with the way I was. And my need to be a good son was not met. And so it's difficult to value something that you need or don't need, or if you don't get your needs fulfilled. So let's say that I want a safe society. So I value a policeman on the streets. because that reassures me that this is a safe society. And so my need is fulfilled by the policeman that I see. But if I was a criminal, I wouldn't need the police to be there. So actually, I do not value the police if I was a criminal. And so value is subjective in regards to what needs we have. And the needs that we fulfill in each other actually creates the value between us, each other, and in the connection with each other. But this actually is difficult for many people because so many people have low self-esteem because they do not feel valuable. And that is because that perhaps that ever since that we were children and we went to school, we were in a certain social value structure. And when we did something that was accepted by the structure, we were rewarded, or otherwise we were punished. And so we were either good or either bad. And with time we get structured, some say indoctrinated, but anyway, we kind of begin to conform to this reality that we were brought up in. And as time goes, our inner values, as the older we get, the more we can feel and sense our inner values, especially if we start to become spiritually aware. Then our inner values will start to align with our higher self, and suddenly it becomes more clear who we are and what we value. And those values will not necessarily be aligned with the values that we were taught. So this discrepancy between what we were taught, what we were brought up with, and the values that we truly hold need to be accepted and aligned so that we can feel the true value inside ourselves. This is a journey. So this is not just a quick fix. It takes time, and it has taken me years to understand this and to integrate and accept this.
What a beautiful story, and a story with dignity, and to be aligned with our values, we need to find the dignity. And in these meetings with our society, with the groups, with our gatherings in the families, and for instance at school, we have this meeting with the frames that you can recognize. The frames that says this is good, this is bad, good at spelling, bad at spelling, good at math, bad at math. But we also have the frames that's not so clear. The flames with different children, for instance, or even with teachers that might like some students or pupils better than others. So when we will be mentored by reality in these different ways to find the values and what is right and what is wrong, these frames, they have never been aligned. So you will be in a kind of state where the things that has created your values and your maybe your recognitions of what's not your values, that they're really hard to align. And if you add that to a knowledge about and heritage and culture, that you have an heritage and you have a culture, and in this there's also frames about different values and what is right and what is wrong, and they are met with agreement and disagreement in your reaction and in your system. So it's like a whole deck of cards that is not aligned with different values, and some of them is like cutting each other's edges, and some of them is supporting each other. And somehow we are trying to build a house of these cards. And as building a house of cards, it's so fragile, and it will like break down all the time if we try to do it with our own cards from the bottom all the time. So it's not strange that this is something that really gives a lot of trouble, and you can see it in a lot of us, as you are saying. And when I'm working with people who has companies or have working with business, and they are trying to at the same time carrying themselves and their values, that this is a space, this is an area where it's kind of easily met, because you have to meet the values, you have to work with the frame, you have to work with it in a professional way. And when you work with it in a professional way, you have a possibility to massage and ventilate the part of you that is more personal. So by using the business area and meeting the business area and work with pricing, work with descriptions, and work with how do you make a facade for your business, from yourself, and how do you ensure that this is a good one that works well, and at the same time support your value and support yourself. So it's something that I'm at myself, being working beforehand as an engineer, working with sales and pricing, and then with opening my own business with different types of educations, meditations, and spiritual ways of handling life. And this working with the business from this perspective is something that I have been only working with for a couple of years. So it's pretty new, but it comes really clear that by working with this, you can reach areas in yourself that's difficult, because the cards of decks, which card could you start with, and how should you align it? So by using this ordinary frame that has some kind of edges that you have to relate to in reality, you can use it as like a fitness center for working with your values and your ability to put value upon yourself.
Yes. I mean, like we all have personal values, all businesses have values as well. If it's a small business, then it's the owner, typically the owner's values that will shine throughout the organization. If it's a larger corporation, they have defined mission statements, value statements, and goals. So mission, value, and goals are always defined in a large corporation, so that they easily can communicate these values throughout the organization, so everybody is aligned with the mission statement and values of the company. And these values are very different from company to company, but the people within have very different values, because they're different persons and people, but they work under the same frame. In my world, where I work with IT security and sales, it's a very result-driven environment. Many people value themselves by being productive. So they're busy, and they feel that they fulfill their value to the company by being productive. But in a personal sense, that isn't quite what gives the business, the person, true fulfillment, because there's always the next target. So productivity is just the ever-going machine that just keeps on going. You'll never get there, because as soon as you reach one goal, you have the next, and then you have the next. So the fulfillment and the job satisfaction that's needed is to be free of time. I always say to my children, if you want to be successful, then you never get paid for your time, but you get paid for your results. So being able to have a job satisfaction because you are rewarded for your results and not for your time gives a much more creative and fulfilling work environment. And that is a value in our company, the one I work for, which helps me to be myself and to implement my personal values inside the framework of the organization. Many jobs are not. My son, he's 15. He works in a supermarket where he's a cashier, and he's paid hourly for his work. And I always say to him that you know, the if he's friendly and like, you know, tries to love his job, and he's connecting with the people that are in our neighborhood and shopping there, time at his work will go much faster, much easily, because he will be conversing with these people, and he will say, "Oh, hi, John. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you again. How's it going?" And at the same time doing his job. So you kind of get free of the time frame that you're looking at the clock and thinking, when am I going to go home? So the result is that just being there and being the person he is, at the same time he's fulfilling his job. And that's a value as an employee you can bring to your work, never mind what you do. And so that you're not in that, because I think so many people are in jobs that they hate, really, to be honest. I think so many people just do enough to not get fired. I think people have jobs that they, you know, inside themselves really know that they shouldn't be there. They should be doing something else with their lives. And how to get there, and how to expand your values, to value yourself enough to take these decisions and bring yourself over there where you want to be, is also part of this process, and also part of the talk that we're going to have today.
Yes, I completely agree. And the time frame and the talk about how to ensure that the way you meet your work, and how you bring in your efforts. What is that carries in your efforts? And if we would like to go to be aligned with our inner values, this is really a good place to start. So what is the reason for my different kind of efforts? And to go to that level, we have to meet ourselves. And in this meeting, we will meet our difficulties that you are actually talking about. And to some people, having a work, even though they could be there for many hours, if it doesn't take them too much effort, if they don't have to bring in too much effort, it could be fine for them if they then have the space for using their efforts in another area of their life that gives them more. And then this is what gives them the bread and the butter, and it's fine. And to other people, this is absolutely not possible. They need a work with these many hours where they have to put in some kind of efforts that's aligned with their values. And to go into this meeting, and not an evaluation but evaluation, I would like to open the energy that supports this, and we have a joint field of energy. We are co-working with the energetic part of this work, and you have this the strong connection with ancient layers, as well as you have this really modern way of working with the business and sales. And I have been working as an energy worker for more than 10 years, full time. So we are joining this and opening a co-working energetic field that you can participate in and step in if you would like to receive a support for you to be able to reach this layer where you can meet your reasons for your efforts, and not only meet the reasons for your efforts, but also be able to switch a bit around with them, to try to play a little bit with them, to find out what does they mean for real, for you real. Which kind of efforts last? Which kind of efforts is just coming by for a really short time, and then they're not here anymore. Then they're dismissed. They are vaporizing. And which kind of efforts give you this sense of a good day, being comfortable with yourself and with what you have been a part of? And to be able to do this, the balance between, you could say the boundaries for your part and your colleagues' part and the customer's part, and even sometimes the product's part is important. It's important that we know that we are a part of a mutual field, but also that we have these boundaries. So when we are here together and we are joining in, both in the energy work and in the sharing and the talk, and we have a mutual path and reason for this, we also have our completely own part of it. And to be able to meet these boundaries, to find them and to stand with them is really important. Because a lot of the difficulties with the reasons for efforts is because we come to switch. So if I'm not capable of keeping these boundaries, then I will see, by instance, if I work with selling a kind of a product, I will put my own value in as at stake, whether I'm having a good sale or not. So I would put my own value in, not the value of my effort, not the value of my work, but the value of myself. And this will be a crush of the boundaries, because this could never be. And also with our colleagues, with the chiefs or with the customers, or all the way around, to keep these boundaries and to work with them is really important. So the energy work here supports this as well, our ability to meet these boundaries. The boundaries is also the surface. So we have a surface where we meet. We meet across these surfaces. We meet with our customers, we meet with the products, we meet with the colleagues, with or self. And to define the surfaces, if defining the surfaces is fun and something you really enjoy, then you have healthy boundaries. If describing the surfaces is difficult and a struggle and you hate it, then this could be a sign of you struggling with the boundaries, with the surface. So if you have this recognition, then this could be a way for you to recognize if this supports you. If you have a gain of being here with our energy work and our support, then if you have a difficulty with descriptions of the surface anywhere or with fighting with them without ability to communicate, if you get stuck, if you get pushed, if you get into fights, or if you want to run away, instead of communicating across these surfaces, then you could try to look out the next couple of days or weeks if you recognize any difference, because that's one of the purposes for us to be here, is to make a difference.
Yeah, yes, it is. I think that for us to truly feel valuable, we need to feel useful. We need to be beneficial for ourselves and for others. We need to feel that we are important for ourselves and for others to truly feel valuable. And most often these are mirrored through other people. So if we receive recognition, if we receive love, we see that we are useful in their lives, then we have a purpose. And if we take this feeling and sense of worth together with passion to be the best version of ourselves in our business, when we contribute to the world with whatever products we have, that our true intention is to expand our worth, the value of ourselves and our company and our products, our services, to people, to really better help them, give them value, then there is actually not a question of price anymore. Because price, and we live in insecure times, you can say. There's a lot of inflation going on. The last webinar that Marianne and I held was about this topic, about the value of money. So you can see that if you would like to learn more about that. But we're experiencing that pricing is becoming abstract now. That the value of things, services are changing in price, but they're the same things, the same products. But we've kind of always had this, because if you're thirsty, the value is that your body gets some water. That's the value. So you can go inside a supermarket and buy it for 10, 20 cents. You can buy it at a fitness center for €1, €2. You can buy it at a restaurant cafe for €4, €5, €6. You can buy it at an airport for €8. But it's the same bottle of water. So we have always had abstract in prices, but the value is that you get your thirst quenched by drinking the water. So it's very important that we don't associate price with value. Value is something completely different. It's the same as if you like the big design brands like Gucci, then you would like the experience of going into a Gucci store and get pampered by the salespeople and sit in these surroundings and sipping a little champagne and looking at the models and so forth. You wouldn't like to buy Gucci at the supermarket, but it's the same product, but the experience is the value, is the status, it's the feeling that you get when you purchase something of that kind of brand. So price and value, I bet that Picasso didn't get much for his paintings when he was alive in his younger years, or maybe even Van Gogh or something older than that. Our value changes, and the circumstances change when we value things in price. I'll come back to pricing and value a little later. But what we experience now when we are closing in on our values and really understanding what our true values are, and these are subjective. Your values may differ from mine or from Marianne, we're all different. We have common values where we meet in these common values so we can exchange, we can connect, and we can share this experience. But our personal values are different. And when we connect into the personal values and mirror them to the world around us, we become insecure because they might not necessarily be aligned. And insecurity, handling insecurity is actually one of the keys to success. Because if you don't accept insecurity, it turns into fear. So if you don't accept the insecurity, it turns into fear. But if you accept the insecurity, it brings out an energy where you feel alive and you feel creative, and you actually begin to feel the passion because you're there where you're not necessarily in charge. Your higher mind is in charge now. That's where you let go. So the fear will keep you here. It will keep you inside and closed. And that would also close the world, yourself for the world and the possibility to expand. But if you accept the insecurity, then you will access your potential. Now, if you mix that with passion, again, back to passion, because passion, what is passion? Passion is a mix of finding the true purpose or what feels like the true purpose. Now, what makes you happy to do? It's very easy, actually. What makes you happy to do? If you had no ties, no strings, no responsibilities, and just feel, what would you like to do with yourself? What would you like to do with your life? Perhaps it's not what you're doing. Perhaps you would like to be a football coach. Perhaps you'd like to be a musician. Perhaps you would like to be a spiritual teacher like Marianne. So, but maybe there are circumstances that then the other thing kicks in, right? Because it's difficult to have the trust to take that step. So the trust can be established by you taking baby steps. Baby steps is where you focus your energy. So yes, you have to go to work like you do now, wherever it is, put in the hours, do that as well as you can. But at the same time, dedicate a portion of your life and energy to put into this project that you would like to see grow and become yours. If you do that every day, just a little bit. And now, so the passion becomes to get a momentum. But momentums go up and down. So some days it will feel great, and you feel that you're expanding and your life is wonderful. You're truly on the path, on your right path. And other days you'll hit the ground and you think, oh, this is never going to happen. But if you have discipline as well as passion and trust, so you trust that your passion will show you the way. That's your higher self. That's the heart. It will show you the way, and then you trust that even if some days it doesn't feel right and I don't want to do it, you just force yourself to do it, because then you use the discipline that you have to keep on going. And that's very important, to have the discipline as well. So if you truly want to change your life, to be successful at the things that you really are aligned with in your heart, then you need to put your energy inside it. You need to focus, and you need to invest in yourself, invest in your business. And the first thing you have to invest in your business is not money, it's time. It's time, it's your focus, it's your energy.
Yes, baby steps and energy that you put into what reality you want to create at the same time as you are using your energy in the best way where you are already at. And this also ensures actually a balance. So even they say, oh, how could I get anywhere? Because I will use so much energy in what that is and so less in what I would like it to be. But it's really important because you cannot, you can expect a lot, but you don't know. So you cannot manifest what will come because you are not there yet. If you were there yet, you would be there. So the baby steps is also for you to be able to grow into this dream, this idea, this vision, this manifestation. And growth takes as much time as it takes for you to reveal it. Not for the surroundings to reveal it, for you to reveal it. And in that, we need some kind of ping pong. We need somebody to be a part of it, to recognize it. Because we are in a mutual reality. And if we want to work with something and we want to have a business where we do a change, make a change, make a difference, then we have to meet somebody that can express this with us. And to do this in the level of maturity that we actually have is important. I meet so many people who have these dreams and visions, and it's so clear to them. And then they're trembling in that they're not there because they've seen it so clearly. So they should be there already. And if they're not, something is wrong. And then they begin to look for what is wrong. But nothing is wrong. But they're just not there. And the baby steps is what's bringing them there, and what this new era reality brings with our well-trained ability to see things through, by instance, the internet, and this ability to meet other people and their visions and their way of seeing things that can inspire us to do things in other ways than we just meet in the nearby society and in our families and all the way around us. So this brings in perspectives and possibilities to see other ways of doing things. So this is really strongly present all the way around, to be really true to your own maturity and your own ability to grow into this. And you use your not your wish, but your pleasant, the way you feel when you feel good about what you're doing. If you use the baby steps, put your energy into it, and you're enjoying it all the way, then this is a strong fuel. So if you force yourself to do it in a way that's difficult and that put pressure on you, so you're not enjoying it, then you will not create this new possibility that you will end up enjoying and that will end up being balanced in the energy. You will just recreate what you're already in. So because of this, the baby steps is really important. And it's really important to give it time to grow in small pieces. And what I experienced myself and what I've seen in people when they do this is that this doesn't necessarily bringing it into something that will grow slow. Actually, it can be really fast. And the reason why it can be really fast is because when you accept that you're not so mature in doing this, and you need to find out what is the surface, and what is in this, and what do I need to bring in, and what do I need to learn, what can I do, what can't I do yet that I need to be able to. When you go into this, then with the consciousness that is present right now with people, the areas where you have a really high function, they mirror itself into the areas where it's not so present. You can recognize this with different kind of technologies. So if you're good at, or other areas, but if you're good with technology, you are easy with the cell phone, and then it's not so difficult to for instance get the TV to work, because it's the same area. You can also say it's with baking. So if you're really good at making bread, then you're probably good at creating cakes as well, even though you haven't never tried it before. And if there's something we really like to do, and the way that we will be good at it, it's already in there. You have been doing it in another area, in another way. Maybe you do it like the opposite way that suits you, but it's already present. So to unfold this by using the baby steps, and also give it the time to grow, and give you self the time to meet it and recognize it. Oh, this is the way that suits me well. This is easy. This is joyful. This is brilliant. Oh my God, I'm brilliant. So, oh, sorry, I swear. Um, but if you force yourself into a fast lane, then you will not be able to have this experience. You will not be able to find this creating of a surface meeting with reality that ensures that you are doing this new thing according and aligned with your values. So by using these baby steps that you're talking about, and put your energy into it, and use the time for it, but at the same time ensure that everything else is working for you the way it used to do, then you give this greenhouse the time, and the fertilizer, and the water, and the light for it to grow. So I yeah, I agree so much with this way of seeing it.
Yeah, me too. I really am aligned with what you're saying, because what happens when we let ourselves go and to follow our passion is that it becomes the path of least resistance. And so I can see it by, we are in our organization, we have a lot of salespeople. I'm one of them. And but my customers reflect who I am. I mean, that's the kind of people that I attract naturally, are the kind of people that reflect. And I've seen it in others as well. If you are a healer, or if you are a therapist, then you will start attracting people that are in your frequency, actually. And what happens is that as they will be your teachers when you start. So they will start to be, so the next customer or client will be your teacher for the next one. And I've also seen, also in my life, that sometimes there's a theme that's going on. So in my life, it could be a theme about, I have retail stores as customers, one after the other. Suddenly they just come in that order. Or if I was a healer or a therapist, it could be a certain topic that could be, maybe it could be something to do with the way they were raised. It could maybe be a trauma, or it could be PTSD, war, or something. There would be some sort of theme that would go on in a period, and then when we've learned what we need to learn from that theme, we're ready to go on to the next theme. And so So when your business life really starts reflecting your inner uh, expansion and development, and you have this ping pong between reality and inside and outside, then it starts to grow with the path of least resistance, and then it can actually escalate, and it can go faster and faster, so that you suddenly your business starts expanding. One of the things that I also saw that was very important for is how our sense of worth will reflect into how others see our business. And it's really important, I think, to be humble and to be true about yourself and what you can do and what you can't do. So really, that when it's better to do something a little bit very, very good than doing a lot, just mediocre. It's much better to just be really, and maybe there are other people that can do so much so well, but as sure as you ensure that I know I can do this. I know I love to do this. And maybe I'm not as good as this guy or this girl, because that is also a value. That's we benchmark ourselves from each other, and we do that with products every day. So if we see that, okay, we have this one, we have this one, this is organic and free range, and this is not. Maybe this is cheaper, but we still choose this one. Maybe we value and benchmark everything. We do that every single day, also with the people that we meet and the situations we are in. We always judge and value, and we do that. So it's also very easy to judge and value ourselves in a negative way as well, because we benchmark on to other people. One of my friends, his name is Tony. He has a company called Sales Pilots. It's in Denmark. And when he started, he wanted to be a sales coach, and he took an hourly fee of 1,000 krona. That's about, what is it, 150 euro. And he had no, not much anyway. And then in his life, what happened was he got a divorce, and he was depressed, and he was really, really out of alignment with everything. And he decided to write a book about sales. And this book actually is a brilliant book. And he started the company in a new form. And what he did was he went out with the book, and he raised his sales price to 5,000 krona, which is about, 750, hourly price of 750 euro. And he has so many customers now. So why did this happen? Well, it's a different thing. Well, what people think is, okay, he's written a book and he must be good because he's charging 750 euro an hour. So he must be really good. That's the worth that you kind of shine the quality of yourself. Okay, there also has to be a substance in it, because he also has to deliver that quality. But he actually did that because he hit bottom, and he built himself up from the bottom up, and he was without compromise. He was not compromising. He was just following his perception, or his 100%. And he did that without any hesitation to what people might think, or how they see them, and he was ready to accept that maybe this wasn't for all. So many of the things that are normal in business life, in sales, he was really controversial, because he started planting ideas that were not mainstream, that were not best practice, what we used to do, or what we have done for hundreds of years as salespeople. Now suddenly he was coming with new concepts, new ways of thinking, and so forth. And that really, that opens minds, and people like to have their minds blown, and they like to get out of the box, because everybody is boxed in their patterns and ideas and upraising and societal values, and So if we can help people break free from the boxes, you're actually adding a lot of value, because what you're doing is you're helping them become creative. So they easily can find their passion and their path, and they get the confidence that, okay, if he, kind of breaks all the rules, maybe I can. I've always sensed that you could do that, but I've never had the courage to do that. So maybe that I now can have the courage, because I can support my idea on his deeds, that he has done it before me. So that's a way of inspiration, but that's also a really good story about how you bring yourself from nothing to success, because you found your true value inside yourself and you expressed it.
Such a beautiful story as well. Really strong, and definitely one to follow. And you had a good clue line there, that of course you need to have the value, and that's when, if we go back to what we talked about before, this maturity, he had a really strong, well-grown maturity about what he wanted to deliver, maybe more mature that he knew himself.
Mm.
And I tried both. I tried to bring in something that I was much better at than I believed, and I also tried the opposite. Because when I began to work as an engineer, I had worked at the university, and I was really strong in my ability to learn things and to get things done. So after working 3 months, I went into my boss and I said to him, I need the raise. And he said, no, you can't have a raise this early. You need to work much longer before you can have a raise, because your work is not that much worth yet. Then I went out to my computer and then I created schemes and curves about how much worth I gave to the company. And then I brought it to him and showed it to him, and then he gave me a raise. The raise, but the trouble was shortly coming up, because I couldn't deliver. He was right. I didn't. I knew all these things, but I didn't have the what you call it. I didn't have the hours yet. So to be able to obtain this salary, I had to work more hours. So I had to work extra hours to deliver that kind of work, because some people had to pay for me. They had to pay me a higher salary because I was leveled up in my paycheck. So to deliver the price for them, I needed to work more. So I had a higher salary, but I also worked more. So I learned really strongly by this, not to oversell, to find a good price that fits well with what I can deliver. And also in this area, I learned about, and I was really, really happy for being able to bring this in when I began to work with the spiritual abilities that I learned from this area, that a sale is only interesting if it brings more value to everybody than it costs. So I have worked with not selling and saying no to sales, huge sales, because these sales would not all in all be a benefit for me, for the company, for the area in the company. So even though it could be a really good deal, we said no. Because all in all, it could bring in some insecurity, it could bring in a lot of different things that didn't made it a good sale. So working with it in the energy, it's been shown to me as cascades. So one good sale is opening for cascades of good sales. And the boundaries and the facades, the edges that you create by describing what you're selling and the energy you put into it is important to create the right cascades. And for me, being a developer, both when I worked as an engineer at the university and in this area as well, I'm always in these different layers. So sometimes I'm really immature with something, and sometimes I'm really mature with something. And to be able to have different values to it and accept the different values, and to also be able to say, okay, this has been really a high value thing for a long time, but it isn't. It doesn't suit me any longer. I'm not as good at this as I was before because I've grown out of it. Then to give it to somebody else is much better than to continue to try to keep it. So both the ability to accept something is okay with a lower value for time, and for a tryout to find out, will it grow? This is a small plant, will it grow to be a big one? And sometimes also take an old one and say, I have to let you go. Or I put you on the shelf to show somebody that I've been doing this, but no more, no more. So this is also, as the other things we have been talking about, this is mirroring our personal structure and our personal way of living. So by working with this awareness about the difference between the professional area and the personal area, but still use it to create waves and motions and commotions. I think it's really funny and interesting to work with this, because you can enter layers that you will ensure that you will not meet them, because the way you handle things, you can kind of go your way around it, so you'll not be opening to these different areas. That's difficult. But if you, for instance, work with it in the professional area, then you have the availability to create these reactions that you can work with in your personal areas as well. And this is actually mirroring the withering and the growth in life, that we have different times in life. We have times where it's easy, we have times where it's difficult, we have different ages. Maybe we are parents, maybe we are not, maybe we are strong, fit, and have some sport we attend a lot, and then we don't. Maybe we have a lot of friends, then we won't. Maybe we have success in life, maybe we won't. And then this, that it's waves and it's different times, and it's changing all the time. By working with this in the professional progress, you support yourself in being able to handle this in your personal life as well. And this is much about that your values is shifting, your frames is shifting, your reality is shifting, your values is shifting. How do we handle this as an ongoing process? And to work with this in this creative work in the professional life supports you in being more able to handle it, I think, in the personal life as well.
I can feel the energy working.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So maybe we should take a couple of deep breaths, like intentional, create a sigh or two, because that's support our system to collaborate with what the energy wants to support us with. And even though we have a theme here, the energy will support us differently. Either one of us, related to what is best for you, me, everybody, to have a support to this.
I'd like to share the feeling of that we say to ourselves, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Because value is so considered around what we need that we forget to focus on what we have. And when we focus on what we have, we actually create more of it. And so it's fine to be aware of what you need, but it's more important to be aware of what you have. I had a teacher once that asked all our students to take down a piece of paper and a pen, and then write down all what we wanted in life. And I started writing. I'd like a car. I'd like so and so, and then I was hoping for some sort of miracle teaching that could tell me how to get all these things. And then he said, what you have written down is all the things that you lack, that you don't have. Have you written anything down that you have as something that you need? And everybody had not. We had written down everything that we didn't have. That was our natural reaction to his question. So he asked us to write down what would you like to have that you have? I mean, put it down and be aware and be conscious about what you have. That helps us so much also in our business, because also in business there's a great awareness of what we don't have. Maybe a competitor is better. Maybe that we are not quite in the right positioning. Maybe we're not in the right price range. Maybe we do not have sufficient supply. Maybe we don't have, there's so many lacks because we always measure all these things and we take decisions every day. But successful companies, they always focus on their core business. They are very aware what their core business is. Instead of doing a lot of things, doing what they do, doing it really great, and then keeping to these core. So, and you can morph that. There's a company in Denmark that works with glass fiber, and they were really famous for doing boats in the old days. They created glass fiber boats, but the market for glass fiber boats, it's there, but it's a smaller market. But then there started to be a demand for windmills. So they actually changed their production and used all the knowledge they had on around glass fiber, because that's their core business. But they started producing windmills, wings, and instead. And so their business, it grew exponentially. Basically, they were doing the same thing, but they moved their business to accommodate a need, a demand, and using their core business to meet that demand with all the skills that they have. And they're still doing it today, making great products in the windmill industry. So, and it's a big business now. So being aware of what our core business is and what we really want to do, what we are true to ourselves that we can do because we're putting energy into it every single day, we can easily shift our business to meet whatever needs that they can come. And this also has something to do with pricing. It has something to do with how you position yourself on the market. So if you have a small business, you're typically aware of other people or other businesses around you that are your competitors. So you can choose to compete. Most do that, or you can choose to go together and merge. You can choose to complement each other. So you're actually very aware of that they actually have a similar core business, but they have a slightly different focus than you have. So you can shift your focus so it still aligns with you and your core business, but it complements. And suddenly, instead of just purchasing one, maybe people would like to purchase both the one and the other. So in the business I am in, which is IT, it's very important that our equipment can talk and work together with other equipment, because people don't have just our stuff. They have all kinds of different equipment and brands. So our stuff has to be compatible with the existing environment. But what we also do is we integrate and connect into these. So we make partnerships with the other companies so we can exchange information within the system. And that gives a value both for our competitor, but also for us, and last, at least, not least, of course, to the customer. So understanding our core business is really important. And when we find out what our values are, what our core business is, then the next step is, where am I right now? Am I ready? Am I happy with where I am? Some businesses choose not to grow. They just have a simple concept. Let's say I have a store. It's a bookstore in the middle of a large town. I'm perfectly fine with that bookstore, and I put all my energy in that store and in my daily life there. Others, they would like a chain of stores before they feel that they have fulfilled their needs. So it's different. But every expansion that we want, and one of the major expansions as a business is when you hire your first employee. That's a big step for a business. The first one, it's easy to hire 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 afterwards. But the first employee is really hard to expand the business. And what you're doing is actually you're extending your worth, because your time is valuable, because your time is focused on the business. And if you can outsource some of the tasks in your business to another, it will free up time. And again, insecurities come in. Can I have, do I have the means to make this happen? What if I can't pay the employee in 6 months? And what if the business doesn't go where? And that's where the insecurity kicks in. And I said before, you need to accept the insecurity, because then you suddenly focus on your business again. And as long as you're focusing on your business and it's a healthy concept, and then the employee will hook into that and actually create more value. And is that more value that you can't see in the first time you hire somebody? You think about, this is what I'm used to being in, but what happens when you get an employee, that is the field of the company actually expands, and so also more money can come in. And then you start to make a blueprint, and you understand the concept of out delegating your tasks, so you can focus on the top decisions inside the company, and you have people working and holding and supporting this new structure that's extended.
Yes, it's so interesting and recognizable. And out of the blue, nearly out of the light, you can say, I just recognize the visions I had years ago, and that I have a sense of that is entering into our reality in these days, is a kind of a creation of a space with people who have their own company by themselves, and then they work together. So what you would have an employee to do, you would get agreements with a company who is taking care of this part of the work, another one who's taking part of this kind of the work, this part of the work, and I've seen it's already begun. Uh, so so this is also, I think, a consequence of the internet and the availabilities across areas, across countries, across surveys. That if somebody really likes to work with something, then they can use this as a foundation for creating a business, and then other people can come and use this part, and they're really skillful at that. And that was also what you were talking about with working with what you're good at. And that's also really important in my kind of business, both when I worked as an engineer specialist and also when I'm working with energy, consciousness, awareness, and to be aware of what is it that works well, and what is bringing in high value to everybody. And then that's what I'm doing the most. Sorry. Being a little bit spiritual, I have to think about why does this begins now? Kicks in now. Okay. I lower down the velocity here. Instead of thinking what I would like to say, I see what will enter the space by itself. Because this small idea that seems to appear in these days, or try to appear, it's about mutual reality. It's about mutual consciousness, and to find different new techniques or technologies to be mutual, but still have the boundaries, and being able to have a business where you're not limited by your own availability to different areas. So, by instance, having your employees, I have employees, and I'm really not good at it, and I don't think I will ever be. So I have employees in a really strange way, and I think a lot of people that have the driving force and the possibility to bring in a new kind of business, they will have the same difficulties that I have, and I was facing it also when I had my former job. If I was giving the purpose, or if I was giving the chance to have another job, I tried that a couple of times where they asked me to take a position where I would have people that I had responsibility for. I wouldn't take it. So, but even though I'm not good at that and I don't like it, I'm good at doing business still. And I need people around me doing different kind of things to make it work in the best way, where the wheel that I am in the machine, that the circuit that I'm running is not diminished because I need to do things that other people can do better than me. So to be able to do that kind of in a small scale way, together with other people, where you're not need to be in the position where you are handling employees in the way that you usually do. That's a mirroring of the change in our mutual consciousness as well, because it has been like in a certain way that we have been collaborated, we have been placed in our reality in the society related to our heritage, our education, where we come from in different ways, and what our success, what happens, our abilities, and this positioning has been a really strong part of the old mutual consciousness. And the new era change is creating a really strong evolutionary step where this is changing, and it's changing pretty fast. So a lot of the rules, a lot of the foundations about how things are and should be, they're changing really fast, or they can change. Possibilities for it to be able to change is opening with the change in our consciousness as well. So being leveled with your values and being aware and founded in where you are right now with your energy and what you would like to put your effort in, the efforts that you bring in that gives you more than it takes, to be able to focus on that with no rules, and of course still meeting the rules. I think this is what will bring in the new wave of business, both the small business and in big business. That the ability to create this shift that you also talked about, a possibility comes by, we can collaborate, we can create a new way of doing things. You're only able to do this because you have the awareness about your business, the possibilities, how much does it take to bring it to this? Is it difficult? How long will it take? Is it possible? The effort we do here, would it be bringing in the value that it takes? So this knowledge about your work, your business, if you work in a way where you can focus on this knowledge that you're really good at, and you can develop that with other people who do that with their own part, and you can do that with healthy boundaries, where you're not pushing each other to take over each other's parts of the business, then you create a totally new way of doing business, driving business.
Yes.
And that will be a mirror of what I see, or a mutual consciousness is accelerating into right now.
I definitely feel the same. Things are accelerating. It's getting easier and easier to manifest. And the way it's getting easier is that we are all more connected with each other. And so there's not this usual, the density has changed. It's become easier to connect. It's become easier to be a part of something. I know this young man, he's 27, lives in Copenhagen, and he worked in the same business that I did. And he had a chance to buy a small wine bar. It's a very old, stuffy wine bar for an amount, very small amount. And he didn't have the money, so he went together with two of his friends, and there were three guys that bought this wine bar. And I think it was about, they had to pay 50,000 euros, something like that. Still, it's money, but it's small money when it's a wine bar in Copenhagen. But they needed about 250,000 euro to create, make the place nice, to have a new inventory and a stock, and have to hire a sommelier to a wine, bartender, so to say. And they didn't have 250,000 euro. But these guys are very young and they're smart, so they crowdfunded 250,000 euro. And they crowdfunded it by reaching out to people and saying that they could, the first people that invest in the company will have a share of the proceeds in the years to come. So every year they will some percentage of their investment. Also, they will get a VIP pass, which is an app They have a VIP in there, which will ensure them free drink when they come there. They can get one glass of free wine. They will get special. They have these wine arrangements where you can taste wine tasting, and they'll come free to these wine tastings and so forth. So there's a lot of benefits by being a sponsor. And they had about 60 people that helped to crowdfund the 250,000 euro. And it's running. It's called Bar Sommelier in Copenhagen now. It's a very, very successful bar. And these three guys, they have done it very well with this bar, and they're already planning to expand to the next one. And then he told me that when they have about 5 wine bars, they can sell it to a capital fund. What they call so they can exit the investment and actually have very, very good. So these are young guys that are just thinking within the possibilities of what's actually available for people now. Also, I see that the use of artificial intelligence is growing in many companies, and I was at this event where there was some chefs that were preparing food, and they were preparing food where the recipes were created by AI. It was a computer called Watson that created by IBM, and so they put the computer to say, okay, we need simple recipes to give to our customers, and they actually created some recipes that were absolutely delicious. Because they have, it's not just ingredients, it's also they measure the amino acids and different compositions that we know taste good together. So they mix like strawberries and soy sauce. That's actually excellent. I didn't know that, and put that in these ingredients. So there was AI versions, and AI is also helping our company in IT security a lot. So these new tools that are coming to people can actually help us, because we can ask AI, what do you recommend we can do, and AI will actually give some very proficient answers, because AI is soon reaching what looks like consciousness now. There is a very, very rapid development in AI at the moment, and if you Google new AI and try to see some YouTube films, you can see that how fast this development is going. So this is definitely a brave new world with endless possibilities, where we can connect with each other, we can get inspiration and help each other. So we're not alone in starting up a business, but we can, as you also said, Marianne, we can connect with each other, so we can outsource different parts of the job to each other. Maybe it's 5 different people. They have each has their own company, but the 5 can work together, so they have one combined solution to extend to a customer. Yeah, definitely agree. It's a completely different consciousness about business today.
And so interesting about the AI. And some of the visions I have this kind of strange ways where I see visions that I haven't seen in reality. It's like dreaming, being awake at the same time. And in this state of mind, I've seen that our consciousness will develop in the same way as AI is doing now, due to our use of technology. So it's like right now, it seems like it's 2 different things. But to me, it's like we can only create an AI that's a mirror of ourselves. So we are the creator of the technology. So even though you could have a sense of, oh, it can grow past us, no, it can't. But we can grow with it, as we have been growing with furnitures and with the houses and with the cars and everything. And you can do it in a good way and in a bad way. So what I've seen is that the real important evolutionary steps is again about value. So when we want to use AI, we want to develop AI, how do we put the value that we want into this use? How do we put the value into the way that we want it to be a part of our reality? So not only how do we feel, how do we like it to be, but what kind of AI would make use of AI would make you proud, would make you like, wow. Not because it's like interesting, not because it's crazy that it's possible, but because it enhance your reality, our reality, in a way that makes it better, not easier, not stronger, um, not only giving our needs new ways of being fulfilled, but gives us our higher selves an expression in our reality.
Yes.
So so this development with a theme is put value upon yourself to be able to value everything else. This is really a scenery, a topic where I've seen that if we can succeed on creating the AI and the reality that this can carry for us in a way that makes us safe, gives us the best greenhouse to grow in a healthy way, in every way. If we can create this space with AI, then our evolution will ensure that we will create steps that has value to everything. So we will have value to environment, we will have value to our families, we will have value to the health, we will have value to the economy at the same time. So all the choices we have will put value upon all layers, all the cards in the deck at the same time. This is what AI can do that we can't. But we have to put the value. And before we can put the value in the AI, we need to get into this alignment with the value that we can meet in ourselves, that we can grow in ourselves.
Yes.
Yes.
As a society, much has happened here in the last years. We went through a period with the pandemic where people had to work from home and some couldn't work at all. What I realized was that people also, of course, it was an unsure period, but people also kind of relaxed a little bit more, and people were home with their families, and they couldn't get out, so they were actually more together with their people that are close to them. It was like the tempo of society just sank a little bit, and we began keep becoming more in touch with what is near us. And now we are experiencing energy prices and inflation running, and what it helps us to do is actually appreciate the intrinsic value of things. And now there are more repair shops getting opening. So instead of throwing your phone away, you can actually get it repaired, or other things that are mechanical or electronic in nature. You can get these things fixed. You might also focus on products that are more durable, that have higher quality, that can last longer. Also, you think about use of energy in the world, how much oil you're using, how much gas, how much electricity, it kind of forces you to be more aware of the intrinsic value of everything. And that's the positive effect of a pandemic and an inflation, that it actually brings us closer to Earth in one way. At the same time, possibilities are expanding in the direction we talked about earlier, about artificial intelligence, about automation, about these new digital technologies that are just forever expanding around us. We have to balance, as you say, Marianne, balance these things. But we are like in like below, also in heaven, we are actually becoming more expanded to so that we can have the fundament of being in a society where there's more there's more elementals of air and digital information and all these things, but at the same time we also appreciate the intrinsic value of what Earth provides for us. And I think that we have a society that's very conscious about how we use different resources. There's different agendas and different politics about it, but everybody, I think everybody can agree that we want a conscious way of using our resources. And this consciousness is actually also, it creates a kind of respect for the earth, the planet, the animals, the humanity, and so forth. If we can channel this in a positive way, I'm sure that we are on our way to changing society, also to create more value for every citizen on earth. And maybe it takes a long time, it takes many lifetimes to do that. But like in the old days, when they built a building or a monumental structure, it could take 100 years to build this, and maybe a lifetime of people was shorter at that time. So maybe a man could work on this project for his whole life and never see it finished. But it didn't matter, because what was important was the contribution for something that is larger than oneself. And so this contribution is the purpose of building the structure and not getting it finished in a short time so we can look at it. But it has to be something that's quality and that can last. I hope that we are building our businesses and society in a way that we can bring it locally and close to us, at the same time also scale it so it becomes bigger. And right now it's so fragmented, and there's so many directions that things are being pulled in, that it's very, very important that we have an intention of peace in this world where there's a lot of friction, that we also have this awareness that we actually vote every day. We vote with the things that we purchase. It's very important to purchase the things that are most aligned. And of course, there are some we also have some limitations with our finances and so forth. But what we can do within our finances, try to be aware of that we actually are voting every single day for the future that we would like to have.
It's so true. And also we're totally aligned with what we talked about small steps, baby steps. Baby steps, making the choices that we can do, that's available for us, not being stressed, not put ourselves under too much pressure, but still do what we can do. And I've actually seen somewhere that there's a startup on beginning to evaluate business reliability economically due to what is your footprint? What is your footprint in different areas, environmentally, with humanity? So with these different footprints that you put will be in the future a part of your evaluation of your reliability economically. So this is something that is worked upon already, and the energy just expands. So just take a couple of minutes here. The resource you talked about, the resource that is time. And actually, in our part of reality, the resource is time and salaries, and people being stressed and not being able to work their best is nearly a pandemic. And what I've seen, and this is only what I've seen, is that you could create the systems, you could create the internet, the cell phones, the way we use it, you can create them in a way that stabilizes you and brings you out of stress. That a part of what is stressing us is that the driving forces that's put into these devices is related to our needs and our lacking. You were talking about our lack, and if the teacher that gave you this assignment, that you could write down what you wanted, what you wished for, and it was all the things that you're lacking. These systems, they are created for you to react with lack. So if you shift those into function in what you already have that works, and to support you in landing in this in a way that enhance your driving forces and expanding them. That there's an idea somewhere that if you are satisfied, you will be lazy. But that is only if you will be satisfied with the wrong things. So if you're satisfied, overwhelmed, and you can't see a value to anything that you can do, then you're lacking values. And the systems that we're using, they are lacking the values, and they're lacking us to meet the values. So if we could develop the systems in a way where they where they will represent the values or are meeting with our values in different kind of ways.
Yes. I also think that the awareness of the technology that we have today is growing. We see what supports us and helps us, but we also see the negative sides of it, and the negative effects it has on all the users and the children, and in all different areas. Because this is also the time of truth. So truth will shine, and it will lead to solutions that are more beneficial, because that there's a business opportunity there. Because the reason that the social media and so forth is so addictive is for business purposes, that they keep us close to the screen all the time so they can show us more advertisement, collect data, and they can sell it. But now the consciousness is actually growing to a point where maybe there's better business in creating something that is more wholesome and balanced and good for people instead. And I definitely think there's a shift in that direction inside not only technology, but actually all kinds of products and systems. I trust that the new generations are very aware of what they create and what effects it has for people, societies, environment, and so forth. At the same time, there is also a larger percentage of tasks, menial tasks that are becoming automated. So we already see that many jobs are not there anymore. And in the supermarkets, there's self-service, and all these things will be more and more automated. And that, of course, is if you're nostalgic, you kind of miss the connection with people. But people will always need connection. We just need to connect in a different way in the future. And also there's a push towards a universal basic income. So we actually don't have to work so much, but we can have more time to express ourselves and do what we want. At the same time, there will also be a need of what will we do with all that time. So there will be different activities and creative ideas to how we can interact, how we can express ourselves. And that will definitely be a major business area in the future, is how do we fulfill the time that we have freed from manual work and manual tasks. So I really hope and for a bright future. I think it's going to be a bumpy road before we get there. We have to have many trials and many errors. But I'm so excited about that we are living in a time that's really focused on change, because also our consciousness is expanding, our consciousness is changing. I also feel the density is changing. And the change in density actually changes the molecular structure inside our bodies. So our bodies are not the same as they were 20 years ago, the molecular structure, and many of the atoms are different not in their basic fundamentals, but in their density. I think that, and actually I saw a science paper where hydrogen has in our atmosphere, in the exolayer, which is the farthermost layer in our atmosphere, the density of hydrogen has fallen by 10%. And inside the troposphere, which is the air we breathe, it's become 4%. It's lost 4% in density, and they can measure that now. And that has happened from 2003. They saw that the atom become unstable, and then in 2012, where we actually had the shift, it became solid again. And since 2012, there has been a 4% change in density of the hydrogen atom. And hydrogen is a part of all our, it's one of the most common elements in all, it's in our bodies, it's in water, it's everywhere. So I thought that was really interesting information, that also the physics are mirroring what's actually happening.
Amazing. I love these kind of facts. It's just so, mind-blowing, and makes so much sense at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And this also brings me back to that the stress that people is experiencing, and the stress is, as I see it when I work with people, it's both in the physical systems, but it's also kind of consciousness stress. And the consciousness stress is what I have seen a possibility for the AI and the technology to work with it. And the consciousness stress is related to different kind of different kind of stretching of our consciousness, different not well used abilities. So by working with the same understanding of our consciousness as you do with the atoms and the molecules, then you can begin to work with the better work, the better use of the consciousness in a way that balances the system and that reduce stress and enhance your availability for feeling success, the experience of success in a way where it's not related to money or being fast or better that you were talking about in the beginning, but you have an experience of success because your values and what you are making an effort to do, you will receive it, you will accomplish this.
Mm.
And to be able to reach these success criteria, you have to use your consciousness in a balanced way, and then you have to know it, and you have to recognize it. And I think it's amazing that your teacher actually had this practice,
Mm.
this idea of writing down what you wish for, and then change it to what you already have. And I would like us to use just a minute together with the people who is here for us to go into this state of mind and to investigate what will this do. And because this small, you could call it a shift. This small shift, how huge change could this give you? This can give a perspective to how little change we actually could use uh, to create a huge difference. So even though we need a lot of trial and errors, maybe not so many,
Mm.
because we have this availability in our consciousness that is activated due to our use of technology
Mm.
or our development of AI. That if this is balanced in a healthy way, where we're ensuring that all these issues, unhealthy issues about the use, is reduced, and we can align it with our values, then we can maybe do some huge steps. But let's try to go into the little. Could you go through it again, um, so we can follow you? So he said in the beginning you should write down. You can write down, but you could also go through in your head.
Mm.
Was the first thing, was it what you wish for?
Yes. No. Yeah. It's the things that you want. That we were asked to write down the things that we wanted, what we want. And actually, it becomes exercise in appreciation and gratitude. And that is also a part of what is value. Value is really also about having appreciation and gratitude, because that brings value to, because life is valuable. uh, what we bring with us from here is our experiences and what we have learned, what we have evolved, and what we have expanded in our consciousness. So even if it's a difficult experience, we still should see it with gratitude, because what we have learned from that experience has expanded our consciousness.
It's really funny. The things that pops into my mind, it is things that I don't have, but it's actually things that I can't get. So
Mm.
so so I would like world peace. That's the
Mhm.
first thing that popped in. It's not so strange in these times. So I, oh my God, sorry for swearing, but I need world peace. That was the first song.
Yeah.
And then the second one that came was I would like ease. I would like things to be easy,
Ah. Yes. Mm.
but it's not true. because if things gets easy, I get bored.
Mm.
So in about 10 seconds into the easiness, I make it difficult
Mm.
because I begin to create, I begin to use the space that
Mm.
it gives me to something else.
I'm the same way. I call it hard fun.
Yes. So 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 it's like the first things that pops into my mind is something that's unavailable. And then I recognize it as like it's like amusing myself and at the same time tricking myself.
Mm.
So it's like I have the things that I wish for that is not for real. So this was my first try, and then I should the next step was to take things that I already have and to value them.
Mm.
Okay, let's try that as
Mhm.
well. Okay, that's amazing. And maybe the rest of you're not able to follow this fast. I'm pretty trained in making these shifts as a part of my work, but it's really amazing. It's
Mm.
like a shift into recognition of how much peace I already have. I could, it just opened throughout the day, all these moments I have by myself where nothing is demanding anything of me and that I create them myself. This is really peaceful, actually, because there's no forces on me. It's really really chosen. It's pretty amazing. And also that the easy part, it's there all the time. It's a lot of things that's easy to me, and I enjoy it. So amazing how we can shift view, perspective, reality with such a small exercise.
Mm.
And the energy is stabilizing now.
Mm.
And I sense it is because we have we're nearly through this
Mm.
webinar, this talk about value. Put a value on upon yourself to be able to put value on anything else. And I hope that you who participate here live and on replay that you have had an interesting meeting here. That something is different now than when you began.
Mm.
We began, and I would like to hear if you have any questions, and also if you have anything at all that you would like us to talk about another time. Please, please throw it at us
Mm.
because, of course, we have our areas, but we're both curious persons, and we have been working with our curiosity for a long time.
Mm.
So, if you have anything that you would like us to talk about, and open the energy, of course, as well, yeah, yeah, give it to us, and then we will see if we can work with it.
I once heard someone say that interesting people are interested.
Oh yeah, yeah. But my husband always said that it's better for you that somebody else is saying that about you than yourself.
Yeah,
But
but that's about being curious. I think that being curious is it's really it's so important. Um, it's kind of the child qualities of children. Children seem to, they see things that adults don't see in the same way. And staying curious, I think, is also what makes life interesting. Um,
yes, and it's for everything that we talked about. The space that is necessary for these changes, these availabilities, these possibilities. The space is curiosity,
yes.
and the space for change, and to ensure that this space for change is giving more value than it takes.
Mm,
This is what our topic is about, because change is here.
mm,
And if we can use this change that is here to ensure that the new space that we enter has more value to it, and that we use all that we know to ensure this, then we will be creating the step, like you were talking about the ancient buildings. If we can create a step into creating the new reality with
mm,
a higher value in all layers, in all the cards of the deck than it was before, then we did our part. My heart is beating faster. So I'm really touched by this, and it's really important to me. So it's like a nerve in my work all the way around.
mm.
So ear to me, close. Yes. So I
Thank you so much, Marianne, for the opportunity to talk about these things. It has been very interesting. I wasn't quite sure what we were going to talk about, um, but I thought that it was really interesting also for me to, to play around with these concepts and topics. I thought that we were far and about and still very true to the what what we were supposed to. Um, and thank you for the energy while we were talking. I can feel that I'm also changed. Yeah.
thank you for the mutual space. Thank you for bringing in your meeting with reality that makes so much sense. And for us to open this space together, there's a sense of me that knows that it's important. And curiously, I don't know why, but I love it. I love every step of it. So I'm already looking forward to the next time. But also used and wow, I have a lot of new things open that I will have to go with next days in my peace and my ease, that I recognize that it's all the way around me all the time. And we have yeah, interesting, and thank you, very interesting. And the life is wonderful when we don't work with control but with curiosity. You told about it so wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody here who's joining in.
Yes. Thank you so much.
See you.